To the war here in Europe now. Ukraine says it downed more than 40 Iranian-made drones during overnight raids on Kyiv. At least one person was killed by falling debris. Ukraine is preparing a long-awaited counteroffensive to liberate its territories from Russian occupation. Officials say it could come any day now.
A cinematic advertisement from Ukraine's military, calling for people to sign up to fight, bolstering efforts to retake territory captured by Russia as Ukraine prepares for a long-anticipated counteroffensive. In an interview with the BBC, the Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defence Council said the push could begin any day now.
We are always ready, the same as we are ready to defend our country at any time. And it is not a question of time. You have to understand that this is a historic opportunity that is given to us by God, to our country. We cannot lose, so we can truly become an independent, big European country.
For many Kyiv residents, that counterstrike is due. Officials say the city's air defence system took down dozens of Russian drones that targeted the capital overnight. Falling debris caused damage in some parts of the city, but when the air raid sirens sounded at midnight, many residents stood on their balconies and called out pro-Ukraine slogans. The attack has come as the capital planned to celebrate Kyiv Day, the anniversary of its founding. But residents have spent the morning cleaning up their damaged homes instead, amid another year of muted celebration in the shadow of war.
I'm now joined by analyst Marina Moran from the Defence Studies Department, King's College London, and we welcome her today from Munich. Marina, again, Kyiv has sustained the biggest ever drone attack, leaving at least 2 dead. But apparently most drones were destroyed by Ukraine. What does that tell us about Ukraine's capacity to defend the capital?
Good day. We have to understand that since the drone attack started around October last year, Ukraine has adapted and Ukraine has asked for more air defenses. And it was important for Western countries to support Ukraine with the likes of Patriot systems in order to be able to defend critical infrastructure, specifically when we're talking about the capital, because Ukraine cannot defend the entire territory that it controls. However, the capital is being well defended. Now, the problem is that the Russians keep on pushing, knowing, especially after the leaked documents, that Ukrainians are lacking in air defenses, and not just air defense systems, but also in ammunition. And therefore, I think, it was very symbolic that the Russians launched their biggest strike as the celebration was supposed to take part today in Kyiv, in order to also terrorize the citizens in a way, as well as deplete Ukrainian air defenses so that they can then use their missiles to get to the targets.
Let's take a look at Russia, where Moscow blamed Kyiv for drone attacks in the southern Belgorod region. Kyiv denies any involvement. What's your take on that?
Well, that's correct. There have been several attacks throughout the past year as well. There were drone attacks in the Kursk region and Belgorod region, and every single time Kyiv denied involvement. And the reason for that is, now that we have the matter of the F-16s on the table, there has to be an assurance from Kyiv that Kyiv will not be using its air power or those Western-supplied fighter jets to attack Russia on its territory, and that has been a concern for Western policymakers. Therefore, to admit to those attacks in Belgorod region would undermine Kyiv's position, not vis-a-vis Russia per se, but vis-a-vis the Western allies, who might be then reluctant to supply Ukraine with long-range munitions as well as fighter jets.
Okay. I want to talk about this counteroffensive. Ukrainian officials say this long expected offensive could begin any day now. How would we even recognize the offensive? Where, when, or how could it start?
That's a very good question, because I think we're not going to see a major battle. And the reason for that is because also the Russian side has the potential of observing the enemy or their enemy from their perspective using drones, using satellite imagery, creating amassing troops somewhere might give away Ukraine's plans. So there might be this very gradual flow where Ukrainian forces are probing different directions, doing battle reconnaissance and seeing where Russian defenses are at their weakest before using the Western trained brigades in order to break through Russian echelon defense. So I don't think that there might be kind of this clear big battle as everybody might be envisaging. And once that happens, it could be in Zaporizhia. It could be, so direction Melitopol, basically the idea would be to cut off Crimea, and that would deliver a very heavy blow to the Russians if the Ukrainian armed forces can muster such a complex operation.